Do you admit to it?
I admit to it.
Do you do it a lot?
More than I like to admit to. Okay. How about you?
I do it a little bit. I'm Jeff Baumgartner with Light Reading. I'm joined here at NAB in Las Vegas with Alan Breznick. Hey. And I know we're supposed to be the whole, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but we're throwing that out the window for today because we just did a panel here this morning. You did at NAB, and the focus was OTT 2.0, kind of taking it to the next level. So, there was a lot of different aspects of that discussed today. So, if you had to kind of boil it down, what's the big next thing that needs to happen for OTT to kind of get to that next level?
Well, first they still have to figure out a way for OTT to make money, which the panel got into a bit and talked about moving more to an ad-supported model. It'll be interesting to see whether that happens. And the second biggest thing, I think, was the security and the password credentials issue, which is still a big issue for both pay TV providers and OTT providers.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the piracy thing, because I'm going to kind of date myself, and it's like, well, it seemed like they kind of said, this is something like Emmett Smith in his prime. It's like you can't stop it, but you can only hope to contain it. So what was kind of your takeaway there? It sounds like it's like something you have to live with, but you have to try to control it or kind of rein it in as much as you can.
Yeah, it sounded like something they were saying that they don't think they can really eliminate it, although of course they would like to, but they're trying to come up with new technologies, new techniques to at least limit it and contain it and keep it in its place so that it's not overwhelming everything else.
Right. And at the same time, not get too overly concerned with parents doing password sharing with their kids versus somebody trying to sell services kind of at a mass scale on the dark web, right?
Yeah, it's a dirty, not so little secret that all this password sharing goes on. We did a survey of the audience, and people even admitted here that they do password sharing, and you would think that no one would want to admit to that right here.
Do you admit to it?
I admit to it.
Do you do it a lot?
More than I like to admit to. Okay. How about you?
I do it a little bit. Maybe not as much as you, but we got to keep it.
But do your kids do it?
I don't know. They might. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on them, but
they don't share that.
No, they don't share about their password sharing to me. Okay. So, and then you talked to Ben Chambers with Philo, and I thought what was interesting, their service is kind of entertainment focused. There's no news, there's no sports in it because it's a higher cost to do that. And I thought it was interesting that he said some of their subscribers actually subscribe to other virtual MVPDs to kind of balance that out if they want sports programming.
Sports and news content really drives the lion's share of the cost in the content world. So, just for a concrete example, ESPN alone is probably driving between $10 and $15 of an end user's cable bill, monthly bill from Comcast or whoever.
But doesn't it also drive the lion's share of viewing?
It drives, sure. It's very popular content, to be sure. But so that plus news and everything, it drives a lot of the cost. And what we basically found after looking at the data was not only are most of the other streaming services out there not offering a package that doesn't include that content, but on a sort of dollar for dollar basis, when we analyzed the data and looked at who's watching what and then the relative cost of that content, we felt that we could really put together a much more valuable bundle without that content.
Which I thought was kind of surprising. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I was surprised too, because I would think that a Philo subscriber would not also want sports. I wouldn't think you'd have a Philo Plus Fubo subscriber, but apparently he was saying that there's a lot of people who want both of them. Right. So it makes you wonder why Philo doesn't do sports. He went into why, that's very costly. But maybe it's something they should consider, or maybe they should look at more alliances with the sports-oriented services.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they kind of evolve things. And I think the last thing I thought was really interesting with what they're working on is kind of a synchronized viewing technology or platform where you could share like a live or on-demand stream with your spouse or something if you're binging, but you're here in Las Vegas and you're watching Billions or something on Showtime.
Right.
And it seems like instead of like the cord cutter kind of being thought of as this loner, it's kind of expanding into saying that it's more of a social experience potentially.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool feature. It'd be interesting to see if it helps bring TV back into that sort of bigger everybody by the water cooler watching the same show again. I mean, if you get more people sharing what they're watching together, it sort of brings like a whole like Facebook aspect to the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, that kind of wraps it up here from OTT 2.0 here at NAB. And again, what happened in Vegas did not stay in Vegas this time. So thanks, Alan.
We broke the rule.
All right. Thanks.